On this channel, we've actually taken the time to go over and document the phenomenon that is being reported in the media over and over again, which is an increase in crime against Asian Americans, largely from the black population. Now, I know a lot of people are going to point out that not a lot of these crimes, or not even most of these crimes, are hate crimes, and that is true. However, there has been an uptick in violent targeting of Asian Americans, and whether or not there was hate in the heart of the people that were perpetrating these crimes or not, they still happen, these are still victims, and if you believe that Asians are soft targets and loaded with money based on the fact that they're Asian, then that doesn't necessarily have to become a belief that comes from hate for it to be you acting based on stereotypes or based on pre-existing bigotries that you have against those people. Now, we've also gone over how this phenomenon actually isn't that new. The uptick may be new, but overall, these kind of tensions have existed between the black community and Asian communities across this country. We've showed the footage from the LA riots.
Why are we the victims? I mean, my friends are good Christians. I mean, we've been through so much, and to go through this, I mean, everything 22 years down the drain.
Many Koreans who yesterday were the shopkeepers of South Central Los Angeles today have lost the businesses they took years to create.
What can I say? I don't have any word to say. This looks a comeback, John.
George Huang woke this morning to find his mini mall burnt to the ground. A loss of $1.5 million and a lifetime of dreams and effort.
I don't mind that. Whatever they need to take it out. But why they burn out the property? That's my question.
41 Korean businesses in South Central have been torched, dozens looted. In this overwhelmingly black and Hispanic area, Koreans own many of the small businesses. They're insular, they employ their own, they keep to themselves. Blacks say that's the problem.
I'm not surprised that the Koreans got targeted because their prices are high, their attitude is wrong, and they just don't seem to have any respect for the black community.
And we've also discussed the pitiful response to this phenomenon by the mainstream media, where at first they'll deny who's perpetrating the crimes, and then they'll try to deceive you into believing that this all traces back to evil orange man saying China virus, therefore, all of this is a consequence of white supremacy. However, today, we actually have a good story. We have a good update. We have a story of a community coming together that actually gave me a bit of hope. So we're going to do the sponsor thing, and then we're going to talk about that on the other side, but you definitely want to come back on the other side. Let's face it, electric bills are hurting this summer. Major cities are seeing near doublings in their electric bill. In the state of New Hampshire, residents are looking at, on average, a $71 increase in electricity just because they're trying to keep their house cool and fight off that summer heat. But luckily for you, I got a little nifty device that electric companies don't want you to worry about. It is this 4-in-1 air conditioner from Easy Summer Cool. Now, I like to use this thing on my desk while I'm working or on my end table right by my bed at night, and this helps cut down on my air conditioning usage, although I am told by people out there in the audience that it works at peak when the humidity is low. So if you're looking at that dry summer heat and you want something that adds a little moisture in order to cool down your environment, definitely go over to EasySummerCool.com. Get yourself one of these. There's discounts and all that for clicking my link in the pinned comment in the top of the description. That's EasySummerCool.com.
Group Stop Asian American and Pacific Islander Hate documented more than 11,000 self-reported hate incidents across the nation from March of 2020, the start of the pandemic, to March of this year.
I saw this report come up on the local news, and it opens up, of course, with this idea that there are 1,100 hate instances that happen between Asian Americans and somebody else that were racially motivated, whatever. And honestly, I'm pretty sure Nuance Bro actually did a video specifically on this organization and how they are in fact a denialist organization that seeks to hide and obfuscate the truth. The 1,100 instances includes instances of people getting into arguments where maybe not a racial epithet was thrown, but this idea that we should be conflating verbal disputes with actual acts of violence and malice, including murder, is absurd to me, so we're not going to go based on that number. And also, I don't think the actual number of hate instances is particularly that important because there's very little crimes that actually get classified as hate crimes. And I think the overall instances of increased crime against Asians in the United States of America in major cities like New York, like San Fran, like LA is far more important, again, regardless of the motivation. There might be some hatred in the underlying motivation, but again, I'm more concerned about your actions and how we can battle against those bad actions.
Less than half of those surveyed said they felt safe going out. 65% were worried about the safety of family members and elders. 32% of parents were concerned about their children facing hate in unsupervised places and on the way to school.
Now, with that being said, the polling is devastating that nearly half of Asians don't feel safe going out of their neighborhoods, and this is largely due to the fact that the neighborhoods that Asians end up living in are not particularly Asian neighborhoods, or they end up working in neighborhoods that have different demographics of people that are often responsible for these crimes. It's no coincidence that the story that we're talking about is a Brooklyn-based story. There are a lot of Asians in other boroughs, including way more Asians in the borough of Queens, for instance, that don't experience this higher level of crime in those areas because those areas are actually predominantly Asian areas, and people doing the attacking disproportionately live in Brooklyn or disproportionately live in the Bronx or uptown Manhattan. Yes, we're talking about Black Americans, we're talking about Black New Yorkers, because on this channel, we don't lie about what's going on.
Safe or not safe?
It's not safe.
Andy Lin, owner of this 99-cent store on Avenue U, says people have stolen coffee and other things in the past. A few doors down, Maggie Chen, owner of a nail salon, says hate crimes are also on people's minds.
So what I love about this news story is that they desperately want to make this about hate crimes, but the people who actually live in the neighborhood, the people who are actually on the ground, know that this is about theft. This is about other instances of violent crimes. That's why it is described by the people that they're interviewing as an afterthought. Yes, they're worried about people who hate them based on the fact that they're Asian, but they're significantly more worried about the string of violent crimes, a lot of them violent robberies, and all the shoplifting and all these other issues that a lot of these people who are small business owners have to deal with that might ultimately end up ruining their financial future.
A lot of people very not nice to the Asian people. I think it should be, you need somebody to help.
So she is right about this. There is a lot of needless, unnecessary rudeness and nastiness directed toward Asians in New York City and in other major metro areas. However, I do want to pause right here to point out that some of this rudeness is actually being reflected back to these Asian communities, not excusing it or anything like that, but it's a difference in customs that if you live amongst an Asian population, you will notice over time. And it's one of those things that the people who come from an Asian country have more about them than the people who are raised in the United States of America. And that is just the general attitude around politeness and manners. A perfect example of this is that I lived in a building for a very long time that had Asian landlords. They knew who I was, but they would almost never hold the door open for me. They would see me walking, and then they would go into the building, and then they would let the door close, and then I would have to break out my key, open the front door. You know, they wouldn't even leave it unlocked, which you could have easily done. Now, I'm not saying that this means that they deserve some hate or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that it is a different culture, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the respect and those kind of courtesies in Asian cultures go to elders, and this is one of the reasons why this might be expected of you, but you won't get a lot of it back. Now, over time, it tends to normalize, and like I said, it's not a thing amongst people who are raised in the United States of America because it is very much an American sense of politeness and courtesy, but this is something that people do notice about them, and I have heard other people remark on, and not a lot of people have the perspective of actually having a bunch of Asian friends and them explaining to you, like, why this is the way it is.
That's where this group of volunteers comes in. As we speak, they are forming an Asian Community Watch Patrol group in the neighborhoods of Homecrest and Sheepshead Bay.
Being a watch person can help lower the crime rate, to give them a warning, to tell them to stop.
So I love this idea. If you're not going to get the help that you need from the NYPD, if you're not going to get the help that you need from Mayor Eric Adams, then why don't you form up your own watch to hopefully deter these crimes from happening? If you're walking around checking in on people, making your community stronger, I'm always going to be on board with it.
As we speak, they are forming an Asian Community Watch Patrol group in the neighborhoods of Homecrest and Sheepshead Bay.
And we also know one of the reasons why this is definitely a good idea is just the meme potential alone. We all know how people love the Roof Korean meme, and this is essentially the equivalent of deploying the Roof Koreans at street level. Now, with that being said, I have to acknowledge and point this out for all of you out there on the internet.com, that these people featured predominantly in this video are actually not Koreans, but whatever, that's not the point. The point is, meme it up, kids, enjoy yourselves, have a good time, and also it's really good for the community, and it really does create ties that bind within the community, and I think that that's fantastic.
It all started with the help of Councilwoman Ina Vernikoff, who brought the group together and is providing funding.
When there's an increase in crimes in the city.
Whoa. Who is that? First of all, Republican member of the city council, and second of all, Ina Vernikoff. Goff. Now, I don't know where that last name comes from. I'm actually not very good at determining what last name means what, but it sounds vaguely Eastern European, and therefore it makes her more attractive, not less.
This group is quite new. They need training, and that's where their neighbors from the Jewish community come in. Another Brooklyn volunteer group, Flatbush Shomrim Safety Patrol, is stepping in to help prepare them for when they have to be out in the streets any time of day or night.
So first of all, I am going to address the point that was made by this lady in this segment because I do think it's important, and I actually think it's a good thing that you have two different communities coming together and working together. That being said, what we need to address first and foremost, the most important aspect of this clip, is the fact that local news is so goofy. She's walking down the street in the crosswalk, and she's looking in the camera, and then she says, any day or night.
Any time of day or night.
Come on, stop hamming it up. It's a little bit ridiculous. It's a serious story. I'm trying to get into it, but you're being so goofy and so weird that it's distracting me from the task at hand.
At the end of the day, their community is safe, our community is safe.
This week, members of both communities got together to begin that training.
I want to say thank you to the Jewish community, so they have a very successful model. We want to create something like this.
Again, I love this, and one of the reasons I love this is if you remember my video on what's behind Asian hate, one of the things that I outlined and highlighted, and I referenced a Thomas Sowell essay in order to do so, was the fact that Asian hate is very similar to the hate that Jewish people end up facing worldwide. So I actually really like the idea of them working with somebody who has to deal with this stuff as well, also in Brooklyn, and trying to form their own version of this. You end up creating two communities that maybe didn't get along before, maybe they got along perfectly fine. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not an expert on the relations between every single ethnic group in the United States of America, let alone in my own city. But that being said, it's nice to see them working together, and it's nice to see that this will produce better bonds between the two communities. I really enjoy this, and I think the Republican city councilwoman in this clip is actually doing a bang-up job by setting this up. And honestly, after seeing so many bad stories in New York City that I'm going to talk about later this week, trust me, you're going to hear them. They're going to be bad. It's nice to see something positive, and it's nice to see people working together, coming together, and not waiting for the government to fix every problem when we know for a fact that the government is more interested in catering to criminals than actually defending the people that make this city run.
The goal of this unarmed volunteer group is to have a visible presence to deter crime and to be the ones to call police if needed.
Perpetrators, as we call them, they hide behind a cloak of anonymity. Once you strip that cloak away, they're going to think twice.
Look, I got to come clean to you guys right now. I got to tell the truth. I got to let you know why I'm actually doing this video. And it's actually because of Dewey Fong. And the reason I'm doing this video is because his accent is so mafioso New York Italian that it's unbelievable. When he was being cut to, I actually thought they were going to cut to some veteran cop who had been on the force for 4 decades, who was going to be a big guy, kind of looked like Joey Diaz. I know Joey Diaz is Cuban, but then I saw his face and I was like, damn, that New York Brooklyn accent is so strong. And again, it's just something you pick up when you're inside the culture and all that. So I actually really think it's awesome. And this is a huge portion of the reason why I'm doing this, because Dewey Fong, I actually think people should be scared of him. I actually think he's coming for you. I actually think he is a member of the Italian mob. That's how much of a badass he actually is. And I'm not saying anything, but I am saying something.
Perpetrators, as we call them, they hide behind a cloak of anonymity. Once you strip that cloak away, they're going to think twice.
Once you strip that cloak away, they're gonna think twice. Again, definitely a threat. He's definitely coming for you. You guys better back off. He's running the show. What we're seeing here is the recreation of the Italian mafia in this Asian neighborhood, and I'm all here for it. I support it. I salute it. Honestly, Dewey Fong, best New Yorker I've seen all week.
Okay, just the feeling of being more safe will encourage people to come out and spend more and shop more.
I don't have much more for you guys right now. I just wanted to bring you a story that gave me a lot of hope and made me optimistic, so hopefully you guys can have some hope and optimism on your side, because there is a limit, and hopefully we reach the limit of what people are willing to tolerate in terms of crime a lot faster than we did when it peaked in the 80s and 90s, when crime was still significantly worse. We're definitely trending toward that direction, but this does not have to be our fate. It doesn't have to be that bad before people demand a reversal, and the fact that people are coming together and working together and realizing that they can form community bonds without the institutions put forward by the Democratic Party that is backing the criminals and not the everyday citizens just makes me think that maybe we might be seeing the other side of this, hopefully sometime in the next few years. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, you show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social medias, support me via the support links in the description box of this video. This has been me talking about the Asian community police. Till next time.